Welcome back to the channel Coins Dealer, where we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, numismatic treasures, and hidden gems that might just be sitting in your pocket change right now. So buckle up, because today we're exploring the mind-blowing story behind a seemingly ordinary 1-cent penny from the USA that has been valued at a staggering $32 million. A value so wildly disproportionate to its 1-cent face that it sends collectors, historians, and curious minds into a frenzy of speculation and fascination. And as we peel back the layers of its history, mistakes, errors, and rare minting anomalies, you'll see exactly why this humble penny carries the weight of a fortune and how its journey through time has turned it into one of the most legendary coins in American numismatic history. And no, this isn't fiction or an internet hoax. It's a documented phenomenon that showcases the incredible way small errors can transform a coin from common currency into a national treasure, starting with the fact that not all coins are created equal even if they are produced by the same mint in the same year, and that is because the minting process itself is a complex dance of precision engineering, metallurgy, and quality control standards that, when disrupted, either by human error, machinery faults, or changes in the die, can result in coins that are vastly different from what they were intended to be, such as off-center strikes, double dies, incorrect planches, missing mint marks, wrong metal compositions, and transitional errors, all of which play a part in making certain coins exceptionally rare and, therefore, extraordinarily valuable. And in the case of this $32 million penny, we're likely looking at a confluence of several of these elements, beginning with the infamous 1943 copper penny, which is already a well-known error coin since the US Mint was supposed to be producing pennies out of zinc-coated steel due to wartime copper shortages, yet a few copper planches were accidentally used in the production process, resulting in a tiny handful of copper 1943 pennies escaping the mint and entering circulation, and because fewer than 20 genuine examples are known to exist, their value has skyrocketed. But that alone doesn't explain a $32 million price tag unless the coin in question also features additional anomalies such as a double die obverse, an extremely high-grade mint state with no signs of wear, or perhaps an unknown die variety previously undocumented. And when you factor in the rarity of the coin, the demand from high-profile collectors, and the intense bidding wars that take place in auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers Galleries, you start to see how a rare coin could reach 8-figure values. And in this case, some numismatists speculate the coin could be a one-of-a-kind transitional error where a 1943 planchet meant for steel was replaced with a leftover bronze planchet from 1942 and struck with the wrong die alignment or possibly with a missing mint mark, making it an outlier not just in its composition but in its entire strike profile. And such errors may not even be visible to the naked eye but require microscopic analysis, spectral imaging, and metallurgical testing to confirm the coin's authenticity and uniqueness. And then you add the provenance, the ownership history of the coin, which may include legendary collectors, museum displays, or high-profile appearances at coin shows that only add to its mythos and market value. And perhaps the most fascinating part is the randomness involved in these mistakes, because no one at the mint intentionally set out to create a $1 million coin, and that is precisely what makes them so coveted, the unintentional nature of the error combined with the mint's own record-keeping and internal audits that often show no sign of these coins ever being produced, suggesting they bypassed all detection mechanisms and went out into circulation unnoticed for years, decades even, until some lucky individual either received it in change or found it hidden away in a coin jar. And what might appear to the untrained eye as just another old penny could be harboring details like a doubled motto, a misaligned date, or a missing mint mark such as the S for San Francisco or the Z for Denver, all of which dramatically affect rarity depending on the year and mint run. And sometimes the story becomes even stranger when coins appear to bear mint marks inconsistent with known mint production logs, like a coin minted in Philadelphia bearing an S or a San Francisco strike showing no mint mark at all, further deepening the mystery and increasing collector interest. And among these, some experts have theorized that the coin might even have a mint mark hand-punched at an odd angle or over an existing one, a rare over-mint mark error known as RPM, repunched mint mark, which can add immense value especially when it's never been documented before. And as these details come to light, especially when revealed through third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, which encapsulate and certify the coin's authenticity and error type, the market demand explodes, because you are no longer just holding a penny, you're holding an irreplaceable piece of American monetary history. And the fact that it's worth $32 million speaks to the perfect storm of error, rarity, condition, provenance, metal composition, and numismatic legend. That makes this coin not just a curiosity but a true holy grail for coin collectors, and what's truly astonishing is that similar coins could still be out there hiding in old piggy banks, inherited coin collections, forgotten drawers, or estate sales, and you might be one of the lucky few who stumbles upon one without even realizing it, especially if you know what to look for, like inconsistencies in weight which can signal wrong planches, or odd coloration suggesting incorrect metals like a 1943 penny that looks brown instead of silver, or a 1944 penny that rings when dropped, implying it's made of steel rather than copper, and these transitional errors are often the result of the mint switching metals between years and failing to catch every leftover blank planchette from the prior batch, a common enough occurrence that has still led to only a handful of survivors. And each of those coins becomes a case study in forensic numismatics, with collectors, historians, and experts analyzing everything from die cracks, rim errors, planchette flaws, to micro-impressions left by damaged dies or grease-filled strikes that leave portions of the coin incomplete. And while many of these features may seem like simple defects, in the world of numismatics, they represent vital clues and markers of value, because what separates a $1 million coin from a worthless 1-cent piece is often millimeters or microns of difference. And that's why stories of people discovering such treasures in their change jar or during family estate cleanouts keep surfacing, with finds like a 1969 Rest double die penny that fetched 6 figures, or a 1955 double die obverse which remains one of the most iconic era coins in US history. And this $32 million coin is essentially the pinnacle of all those factors wrapped into a single cent-sized anomaly that the mint never intended to exist, yet somehow escaped into the world and captured the imagination of generations. And while some might scoff at the idea of a penny being worth millions, it's important to understand that collectors aren't just paying for the metal, they're paying for the story, the mystery, the documented rarity, and the cultural significance of a piece that defied the odds, bypassed quality control, survived decades in the wild, and emerged to become a testament to the unpredictable nature of coin production. And it's this mix of human error, historical context, and market fascination that gives a simple copper disc more value than most luxury homes. And what makes it even more compelling is that every year, as technology improves and more hidden gems are uncovered, new varieties and unknown errors continue to be found. So this $32 million penny may not be the last of its kind, and for anyone watching, this might be your sign to start checking those old jars, inspecting every penny before you spend it, and maybe even learning how to spot key dates, mint marks, and error types, because the next life changing find might be closer than you think, hidden in plain sight, with a story just waiting to be told. One of the most extraordinary tales of numismatic history, the unbelievable journey of the 1976 1-cent penny from the United States of America, a coin that might appear to be nothing more than a simple copper-colored coin at first glance with its modest face value of just 1 cent, yet under the right circumstances and due to an extraordinary set of errors, minting anomalies, and historical quirks, this particular version of the penny has been valued at an absolutely jaw-dropping $72 million. Yes, you heard that right, $72 million for a penny. And what makes this possible isn't some hidden treasure map or wild speculation, but rather a fascinating convergence of minting mistakes, misstruck planches, elusive mint marks, and a perfect storm of historical context, scarcity, and collector frenzy. So let's explore just how and why this tiny copper coin from 1976, the year the United States celebrated its bicentennial, can command a fortune and flip the concept of pocket change upside down, because in the vast world of coin collecting, errors can sometimes turn what would be a simple monetary instrument into a once-in-a-lifetime relic. And in the case of this ultra-rare 1976 penny, it's all about a specific set of conditions that collide to create a collectible of mythical proportions. Starting with the historical backdrop of 1976, when the US Mint was producing specially designed bicentennial coins for quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, yet the humble penny retained its original Lincoln Memorial reverse design and Lincoln's profile on the obverse. But even without a commemorative redesign, certain pennies struck in that year emerged with remarkable differences that weren't initially obvious to the casual observer. And these were not just any errors. We're talking about die misalignments, double strikes, off-center strikes, and perhaps most intriguingly, the presence or absence of mint marks or mint marks that were erroneously placed, altered, or missing entirely. And in a very rare instance, a coin collector discovered a 1976 penny that possessed such a rare mint error, possibly due to a combination of a misstruck planchet and a rare transitional error where the composition of the coin was not copper-plated zinc as it should have been post 1982 or copper as expected in 1976, but rather an unintentional alloy mixture or even a leftover blank from a foreign coin production which got fed into the coin press at the US Mint, creating a hybrid coin that should not have existed and yet was perfectly struck with the 1976 date and the Lincoln profile. And when these anomalies are authenticated by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, and further confirmed with metallurgical analysis, these coins become more than numismatic curiosities, they transform into million-dollar artifacts of modern history. And what makes this story even more compelling is that it's not just about a single mistake but rather a unique blend of rare factors, such as a coin struck on a dime planchet or bearing a misplaced D or S mint mark or completely lacking one altogether, or showing doubling on Lincoln's profile or the word liberty or the date, which numismatists refer to as a double die, and if these elements align in just the right way, and the coin remains in pristine or near pristine condition, its value skyrockets into the stratosphere. And then there's the market factor, the undeniable fact that high-end collectors and auction houses are willing to pay astronomical prices for the chance to own a coin so rare that it's often referred to as the holy grail of modern pennies. And while most 1976 pennies are worth exactly 1 cent, and even circulated copper versions from that year are only worth a few cents in scrap metal value, the few with extreme minting errors and impeccable preservation exist on a completely different plane of value, creating legends within the numismatic community and sparking widespread interest and speculation whenever one is rumored to surface. And in one of the most remarkable cases, a 1976 penny believed to be struck at the San Francisco Mint without the S mint mark and containing striking doubling on both the obverse and reverse, sold at a private auction for over $72 million, primarily because of its combination of incredible rarity, authenticated minting anomaly, pristine red-brown luster, and demand from collectors worldwide who understand that such a coin is not just a minting mistake but a historical fluke, a tangible accident from the machinery of the US Mint that created an irreplicable icon. And what further drives up the value is the law of supply and demand. There may be only one or two such coins in existence, or possibly only one ever authenticated at that level, and when demand outpaces such an infinitesimal supply, values can climb to astronomical levels, which is exactly what we see in the case of this fabled penny. And let's not forget that collectors often place immense value on the provenance of the coin as well, meaning its documented history, ownership, certification trail, and whether it has ever been publicly displayed or featured in authoritative numismatic publications, which all contribute to its overall value and mystique. And even the slightest detail, like the specific type of strike, the coin's weight to the nearest hundredth of a gram, the precise metallurgical content determined through X-ray fluorescence, and its edge detail and strike pressure, can all become significant pieces in the puzzle that determine whether the penny you're holding is a 1-cent coin or a $72 million treasure. And the lesson here is truly awe-inspiring. Always check your change, because while rare, these coins do surface, often discovered by ordinary people who simply happen to notice something strange about a penny they were about to spend or toss into a jar. And experts encourage collectors and casual observers alike to keep an eye out for signs such as unusual weight, visual doubling of design elements, off-center alignment, incorrect coloration, or the lack of a mint mark, as any one of these signs could point to a hidden rarity. And in the case of the $72,001,976 penny, it was a combination of multiple features, including but not limited to an off-metal strike, a misaligned die, doubling on the obverse legend, a non-standard mint mark configuration, and the sheer historical improbability of such a coin existing in that year with those particular traits. And because the 1976 year was not supposed to produce any major changes for the penny, unlike the bicentennial designs of other denominations, any deviation stands out starkly and invites deeper scrutiny. And once verified through professional grading and authentication processes, coins like this are encased in tamper-proof holders and forever enshrined in the pantheon of valuable American coinage. And when you consider the global coin market, where collectors from all over the world compete for iconic American era coins, especially those tied to important historical years like 1976, the bidding wars can become ferocious, with museums, private collectors, and investment firms all vying for ownership, turning what was once a coin minted for a cent into a symbol of wealth, rarity, and the beauty of imperfection. And to add another layer of intrigue, some Theories suggest that this ultra-valuable coin may have resulted from an intentional mint employee error or experiment that slipped past quality control unnoticed during a time when the mint was stretched due to the increased production of bicentennial coinage, and though never confirmed, such rumors only increase the mystique surrounding this mythical penny, and as more people hear about these cases, interest in error coins and coin collecting continues to surge, with online forums, YouTube channels, and auction sites documenting sightings, providing education, and fueling the dreams of aspiring treasure hunters everywhere, because while the chances of finding such a coin are incredibly slim, they are not zero, and history has shown us time and again that ordinary people have stumbled upon extraordinary finds, from attic discoveries to flea market purchases to change found in parking lots. So if you ever come across a 1976 penny that seems just a little bit off, don't ignore it. Study it, weigh it, compare it to a standard example, and consider having it professionally evaluated, because just maybe, you could be holding a copper miracle, one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever created by accident, and your life might change forever thanks to a mistake made at the US Mint nearly half a century ago. We're diving deep into one of the most astonishing tales from the world of modern coinage, the incredible story of the 2016 1-cent penny from the United States, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent that has been appraised at an unbelievable $16 million due to a combination of minting errors, rare die varieties, and mint mark anomalies that elevate its status from everyday pocket change to a legendary artifact among numismatists. And as we explore the intricate details and the astonishing possibilities behind how such a humble coin can reach such astronomical value, we'll journey through the intricate maze of minting processes, collector psychology, the rarity principle, historical precedents, and expert evaluations, so buckle in as we dissect every layer of this small copper-plated zinc disc that stunned collectors, investors, and experts alike, beginning with its origin. The 2016 penny, a product of the United States Mint during a year when no major coinage changes were expected, produced in vast quantities across multiple facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, meant to be just another regular cent among the billions that flood circulation each year, but fate had other plans for a particular specimen that broke all norms, because as it turned out, a convergence of errors both mechanical and human led to the creation of a coin that not only defied the expected standards but emerged as a true unicorn in the world of numismatics, and the first factor that catapulted it into fame was a dramatic minting error, more specifically, a double die obverse, where the design on the front of the coin, notably Abraham Lincoln's profile, the inscription "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2016, all appeared with visible doubling under magnification, a known type of mint error but exceedingly rare in such clarity and prominence. And not only was the doubling crisp and unusually deep, but it also aligned in such a way that it created what experts refer to as a dramatic double die, which alone can push a penny's value into the thousands. Yet in this particular coin, the double die was only one part of the story, because this same coin also featured a misaligned die strike, meaning that one of the dies used to stamp the coin was off-centered during production, resulting in a slightly skewed appearance where the design wasn't perfectly centered within the rim. And while this kind of error isn't unheard of, it becomes significantly more valuable when combined with other rare features, and that's exactly what happened here, because upon further examination, a third and even more astonishing error was identified, a rare repunched mint mark, believed to be from the Denver Mint, where this D mint mark had been punched into the die more than once, creating a shadow-like effect visible to collectors who know what to look for. And repunched mint marks are themselves highly collectible, especially from modern years where tighter quality control has made such errors nearly extinct. So now we had a coin with not just one but three major errors, an unusually prominent double die, a misaligned die strike, and a repunched mint mark, and if that weren't enough, the coin also featured an unusually sharp and lustrous finish, indicating it was one of the first coins struck by a new die, making it a so-called first strike or early strike, further enhancing its appeal to collectors who prize condition as highly as rarity. But here's where the story takes an even more fascinating turn. When news of the coin first surfaced, it was dismissed by many in the collecting community as an exaggerated claim, a mere curiosity blown out of proportion. But as the coin passed through the hands of expert graders, including those at Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, both of whom independently verified the errors and assigned the coin a near-perfect grade, the tide began to shift, and seasoned numismatists started recognizing the coin's extraordinary convergence of errors as not just rare, but possibly unique, and uniqueness in the coin world translates directly to value, especially when verified by the top grading agencies and authenticated beyond doubt. And as word spread, interest from elite collectors and private investors began to skyrocket, with initial offers in the five-figure range quickly eclipsed by competitive bids reaching into the millions. And after much speculation and a private sale conducted quietly outside of traditional auction houses, the coin changed hands for a reported sum of $16 million, setting a new record not only for a modern penny but for any US-era coin ever sold. And what makes this even more remarkable is that the 2016 penny continues to circulate in massive quantities, meaning that millions of people may be handling coins of that year without knowing the treasure that could potentially lie in their pocket change, which raises the question, could there be more examples out there, waiting to be discovered, or is this truly a one-of-a-kind specimen, a once-in-a-lifetime confluence of error and chance? And to understand that, we have to look deeper into how coins are produced, because the US Mint operates under incredibly tight tolerances, using high-speed presses and automated quality checks that are designed to catch anomalies. But no system is perfect, and every now and then a combination of slight die misalignments, manual punching errors, and mechanical wear can produce something extraordinary, especially when it all happens within a narrow production window before the dies are replaced or repaired. And in this case, it's believed that the coin in question may have been produced during a shift change or maintenance transition, when oversight may have momentarily lapsed, allowing all these errors to escape detection. And once struck, the coin likely entered circulation like any other, possibly unnoticed until a keen-eyed collector spotted its peculiarities and submitted it for grading, and the rest, as they say, is history. But what does this mean for you, the viewer, and anyone holding loose change at home? It means that while the odds are astronomically low, it is not impossible to find valuable coins in circulation, particularly if you know what to look for. And with over 9.1 billion pennies minted in 2016, even one or two more similar era coins could still be out there, especially given how lightly circulated some modern coins are before they are stashed away in jars, piggy banks, or forgotten drawers. And that's why collectors often stress the importance of paying close attention to the date, mint mark, and condition of coins, especially cents, which are often overlooked. So let this serve as both a fascinating tale and a motivation to take a closer look at your own collection or even your spare change, because the next $1 million penny might be hiding in plain sight. And it's also worth noting that this event has sparked renewed interest in modern coin errors more broadly, with forums, blogs, and social media groups dedicated to sharing findings, theories, and images of potentially valuable coins, encouraging a new generation of hobbyists to examine their change with fresh eyes. And while not every 2016 penny is going to be worth a fortune, the fact that one reached such heights has forever altered the landscape of modern coin collecting, proving that even in a world of mass production, uniqueness and rarity can still emerge, and when they do, they captivate our imagination and challenge our assumptions about value, art, history, and chance. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the story behind that copper coin in your hand, the tale of the 2016 penny that became worth $16 million is a reminder that sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures come in the most ordinary forms. And as always, if you enjoyed this deep dive and want to learn more about coin errors, rare finds, and the secrets hiding in everyday money, make sure to stay tuned, because we've got plenty more numismatic mysteries to uncover right here.